We've just finished our roundtable session at La Défense in Paris, and I'm here with Tim Jefferson from the Human Chain, who's been our chairperson today. Tim, first of all, I'd like to ask you if you could give us a quick summary of what's been going on today.
It's been a very interesting and thought-provoking session with a wide range of network operators, all the French major network operators, all the banks, and a number of the transit operators, as well as some solution providers here in France, as well as MasterCard and Visa. Therefore, we've had a really detailed examination and discussion around the real issues, which have really worked very well. A lot of interesting, somewhat diverse opinions. A lot of interest around the difference between contactless card rollouts and also the mobile contactless rollouts. Very important, I think, that's come out is that there's two different types of business cases. A lot of interest around how you would develop from a contactless card rollout into a mobile solution, but also a lot of discussion around how you would be able to do that with the more complex world of mobile contactless, especially in the payment world. We had a lot of discussion around the payment marketplace, a lot of what is the drivers and what are the barriers to entry, a lot of discussion around security, and also about interoperability. A lot of people saying that you should perhaps do things on a local level and then build to a more international and global level, whereas I think some of the people were using examples of where global doesn't necessarily work at local level. So there's a lot of debate, but also very constructive in the sense of understanding the different requirements for the different payment industry people, the transit people and the mobile industry, all have different business drivers.
And what did we see as some of the differences between the banks in UK and France?
I think the big difference is the well-known fact that France is a debit card-led industry, whereas the UK is a credit card-led industry. France has a very high usage of cards, especially obviously the debit cards, and therefore the infrastructure and the fact that France has been a chip and pin country for some 20 years now has led to a different take-up. The business models have come out today that fees are a particular issue here in France, and the collaboration between the English banks, 6 major banks got together last year to discuss on how they would engage on contactless in general, and there seems to be an agreement there. That has never happened here in France, so that's obviously a bit of a barrier to entry. They are only now discussing, and they are in earnest discussions at the moment, led by the schemes, the Visa and MasterCard, leading the discussions around fees and also the processes as well. Some interesting discussions today. We had a major retailer with us today, and they had some very strong views that they won't be paying anything extra. So I think there is still some way to go on the commercial discussions.
And what do you feel were some of the positive aspects that came out of the session today?
I think what was talked about, and then there was some off discussions as well, was that things are happening. They will happen on a case-by-case basis, especially in the mobile world where it's still emerging and the handsets still have to come through. We're still waiting for production, industrialised type of handsets next year sometime. But I think the positive thing is that it is a lot further on than it was a few months ago. And also the French are quite innovative, and I think strongly came out today is that the French population are very interested in technology, and therefore perhaps it's an easier sell than it is, for example, in the UK or in Germany, where people are a little bit more sceptical, a little bit more less accepting of new technology. They've already had, if you think they've had for 20 years chip and pin, whereas we've only had chip and pin in the UK relatively recently. So I think there is a lot of things happening. Transit is very important, and I think that came out quite clear was that the transit operators in France will move. I think payment will probably, is what we've heard today, will come along afterwards. There's also interest around prepaid and debit card usage. Prepaid cards, still a lot to be explored around that area, but there's a limited amount of implementation so far, but there's, I think, quite a bit of interest certainly from the retailers, which ties in with loyalty. And that was another part of the discussion we had today, was about how payment and loyalty go hand in hand.
And if you could sum up the session in just one phrase, what would it be?
The real phrase that's come out today is about the difference between, the balance between value creation and revenue creation. And this is really critical for all of the players within the ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Tim, for being our chair once again, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you very much indeed.